Good evening. Hey, everyone. I'm Rodney Sampson, Executive Chairman of OHUB and Venture Partner at Draper Goren Holm. I hope you have been enjoying this year's first virtual edition of the LA Blockchain Summit brought to you by eToro. I hope you got your free $100 of Bitcoin. I know I got mine and got my tickets as well. I'm incredibly excited about this conversation in particular because we get to talk about how all these amazing new technologies on the edge of finance and the internet in general can actually be used for good. So with no further ado, I would like to introduce our panel this evening, and actually I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and then we'll jump right in. Anna, good to have you.
Ready to go. Thanks, Rodney. Thanks the team at Draper Goren Holm for having us today. It's always a pleasure to talk about how those of us working in blockchain are actually trying to use this technology to do good and move beyond the conventional finance system that we have today. I'm here from gooddollar.org. Gooddollar.org is a nonprofit that is focused on using blockchain technologies to discover new ways to create, pay for, and distribute a daily basic income to every human being alive on Earth. We are the social impact spinoff of eToro.com, actually, that's focused on really if we want to bring more, if we want to close the financial inclusion gap, if we want to bring more people into the conventional economy, what are the products that we can design with that goal in mind in terms of closing the gap between those who have capital today and those who do not. Good Dollar was launched originally 2 years ago, but we launched our first live product on chain officially, the Good Dollar currency, a month ago. We've been overwhelmed by the response, seeing over 50,000 signups from over 150 countries. That's over 88% of the planet, of people who are clamoring to use digital currency to supplement and augment their economic activity today. And it's a pleasure to be here with all you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And I look forward to learning, going deeper into how you're using blockchain for social good. David, let's come to you. Good to have you and look forward to learning more about you.
Right. Well, thank you for the invite. I'm a last minute addition, but nonetheless excited to be here to share what we've been doing. My background, I've been with the DoD for 25 years. And I giggle a little bit because a lot of people don't associate social good with DoD. You know, you got ordnance dropping on one hand, but on the other, especially for like the component I serve, which is the Navy, we do a lot of humanitarian causes all around the globe. Protect human rights. We deliver food and desperately needed help anywhere in the world. So I think that kind of counterbalances that to an extent. And I also support Giftz, and John here will talk more about Giftz as the CTO, as we start to look to tokenize consumption and the rewards for that consumption around the globe, and to help in a small way, or hopefully in a big way, get the wealth inequality not to be as much of a problem as it is today, based on like some of our proof of consumption models that we have. So
thank you.
Leave it at that. Excited to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you and your perspective and your vantage point as well. Your career DoD?
Yeah, I've been in for 25 years now.
Yeah.
So yes, for the most part.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Xiaochen, it's good to see you. And known you for a while, but if you would do us the honor and introduce yourself to our global audience.
Sure. Thank you for the invitation. It's really great to just catch up again. And yeah, my name is Xiaochen Zhang, the president of Fintech for Good. And interestingly, that I started my blockchain journey when I was still with World Bank, and at that time we were looking for innovations like Good Dollar, and who can just deliver universal access to financial service, or rural electrification, or the healthcare, all in a very different way, and which to especially to enable those underserved and even unserved the communities. And from World Bank, that I started after I left the World Bank, I started Fintech for Good, and where that we saw that from the technology sector, it's the international development is an area which is not natural, and they are not familiar with the area, and also they don't have the access to international organizations or governments. Then from the public sector side, that they really want to look for innovation, but they again, there's an access gap. So Fintech for Good really just serve as a bridge, where that we identify innovations like Good Dollar and other emerging tech solutions, and bring them to the public sector, say that this can help you to solve this SDG, Sustainable Development Goal. That one can just and during that process, and we launched the incubation acceleration program. We also built a number of powerful initiatives together with other partners. Just this January, together with United Nations, World Economic Forum, Refinitiv, and many other partners, we launched the Future of Sustainable Data Alliance, and to really fill the data gap. And when we are also a co-founding member of the Prosperity Alliance, and we're again that we try to use digital currency to just solve the financial access problem. And we launched a digital innovation for sustainable housing task force, and looking at using blockchain and other emerging technology to make the housing affordable, eco-friendly, smart, healthy, and safe. And another area that we are also looking at, we call it zero hunger tech. During COVID-19, it's very clear that many people cannot bring food on the table, and that's because of many issues which are related to the food value chain, and how to just use blockchain to just reinventing the value chain, make the food delivery, and also reduce the cost, improve transparency in the food value chain. And that is another focus, and we have some work in Texas along that line. Lastly, I want to mention that 2 years ago that we launched the CBDC working group, and looking specific as how central bank digital currency can potentially just bring government, public sector a new way to just deliver public service, and especially for those communities who need to be served. And just the last month that Anna was part of that, so we organized the CBDC forum, and convert also the working group into the CBDC committee. So now we are organizing another 2 CBDC forum, really just bring central banks, private sector, corporate, and the community organization together to discuss when the CBDC, central bank digital currency, is launched, how that can be really used for social good and protect the environment as well.
Incredible. I've known of your work for a while, and it's definitely good to see you still pioneering for the planet. So thank you very much. John, bring us home. It's good to have you this evening.
Thanks, Rodney. I appreciate it. My name is John Paukulis. I am the founder and CEO of Giftz. We're a for-profit company. However, I believe I'm here because Draper Goren Holm joined forces with Giftz to launch a program called Give Back Heroes, givebackheroes.org. And what we do is we are a COVID-19 humanitarian relief and economic recovery initiative. And what we do is we send e-gift aid to first responders like the California firefighters, frontline workers like nurses, and those in need. We are reaching out to corporate social responsibility programs. And what we do is we give back gift cards or digital gift cards. So we actually have two beneficiaries. It's the person in need, and it's also to stimulate the economy. My background was in a former life, I was head of Paramount Pictures digital marketing, where I produced campaigns for pictures like Mission Impossible, Titanic, and got into Bitcoin way back when, I think probably about 2010, and saw the power of blockchain. Actually, not in the beginning. The beginning, it was, for me, it was more about playing the market. I wanted to see if I could make some money, and I did. I made a little bit of money. I bought Bitcoin back in 2010, and it went up. I think it went up in 2014 up to like $1,200, and I thought I was a genius. And then it fell to $400, and I sold everything. But I had a 10x, exit, yeah. So wasn't bad. But so I saw the value in blockchain early on, and for me, getting involved, and I'm new to the nonprofit world, and what we have to jump through the hoops we have to jump through is just insane. We have a fiscal sponsor right now, which is the Soteri Institute. It's a blockchain charity that is creating a sovereign ID for medical. So people can put their medical information on a sovereign ID, and then it'll actually geolocate when you're near, if you're in trouble, you're near someplace, it gets you to the hospital. I just see so many potential ways to do social good through blockchain, and I'm getting on board with Giftz. We actually have another program called Gift Code Relief. The giftcoderelief.com is a peer-to-peer gifting program that allows you to give gift codes directly to somebody else and get a gift back. So so we do have a for-profit, which is Giftz. Giftz background. Giftz is on a high level, it's like a Coinbase for points, miles, and gift cards, stored value, so people can finally exchange it, but with the ultimate goal to have a giving or a gift economy within our ecosystem that would allow people to gift value. We're working with a county right now who's interested in helping some merchants who are struggling, but they don't want to just give them money. They want to give them say, home like Lowe's or Home Depot. They want to be able to give them value so they know that they're actually spending it. And so what we're doing is we're tokenizing that stored value, and we're able to track that to make sure that the money that gets to somebody doesn't end up at the liquor store, which, by the way, I don't blame anybody for drinking, these days. It's a crazy world we're in. But that said, I think that, transparency and the ability to stop some of the charities. I mean, some of these big charities they are, God, I forget what the name of it. There's like a kids, I think it's Children's Wish Foundation. That's what it is. Children's Wish Foundation. They give 1% to the beneficiaries, and they've used the Children's Wish Foundation because of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and they've raised $100 million, and they give 1 to 4% to the beneficiaries. If this was on blockchain, we could prevent a lot of this fraud. And that's kind of what we're trying to do with Giftz, is to tokenize the value and then track the transfer of that value from either peer-to-peer or from corporate social responsibility programs to the actual charity, and then to the donor.
Wow, thank you so much. If you're tuning in and when watching, just listening to these amazing people talk about how they are using the blockchain to create social good is incredible. I mean, I want to maybe date myself a little bit, but when I think about over the last 20, 25 years of technology, you didn't see this advancement into sort of like this emerging space of how tech could be used for good. as quick as we're seeing how blockchain and crypto can be used, for good. I mean, the major things that we have to solve on our planet, from, hunger to this global pandemic and climate that we're dealing with, to humanitarian crisis that are impacted by economic inequality and the weather, and, to the social justice that, we're seeing in America that's being felt and, felt around the world. I mean, I'm just encouraged by hearing you all tell your journeys. Anna, I want to come to you for a moment. Like, what is the moonshot here? And where do you see your work in, let's say, a decade?
Wow, great question. Well, I think, first of all, I think just to continue on what you were saying, Rodney, it's we don't really have a choice but to look to new innovations, because business as usual across the board isn't working. So it's not really, I think for those of us who are actually thinking about how do we make the world a fairer, freer, safer place, and how we love our planet, I don't think it's a surprise that we find ourselves looking to new innovations and new tools that will facilitate us in doing those things better that we arguably could be critical of us doing not so great a job at before. Having said that, when I look 10 years into the future, what I really believe is that we will see a multi-currency future, first and foremost, where we all have digital wallets that will hold in it potentially our Bitcoins, potentially other digital assets, but certainly digital assets that we use for our goods and services, unlike today. That might be your good dollar, that might be your central bank digital currency. But needless to say, as human beings, we will become, it might actually be your United points coming from Giftz, from John, but ultimately we will be hosting in our digital wallets multiple currency types. And I believe that we will see a world where that money is much freer than the fiat currencies that we use today. It will be freer in terms of, first and foremost, there will be much more transparency to the money that we use. Who controls the minting of money? How is it issued? Who is it issued to? All of these are challenges that will be solved by central bank blockchain systems, also decentralized public networks such as Ethereum, such as Bitcoin, etc. And it also, I believe, when I say money will be free, obviously I'm coming from a basic income perspective, so I actually truly believe that we will be giving money away. But what I mean by that is not that we're all going to live in the lap of luxury. What I mean by that is that we will have enough new financial products that are able to reach the 1.7 billion unbanked that exist today, that first, finally, having some sort of access to baseline economic assets or baseline economic security is a reality. We're able to make it a reality because it will be one person, one digital wallet, and the money should be designed. And I think a lot of us who are working on ways that we can design so that value actually does reach the people who need it, where we know that's where our economic growth is going to come from. As a globe, we know economic growth, our growth will come from unlocking it at the bottom of the pyramid rather than our existing system. And so those are some of my feelings for the future when I look 10 years down the line. And certainly I am the first to admit that this is a 10-year fight, it's a 20-year, it's a 30, it's a 50-year fight, because nothing that is truly paradigm shifting or hard happens quickly.
Absolutely. And thank you for saying that. There are a lot of folks who have startups on the blockchain, and everyone wants an overnight success, right? Whether it's blockchain, whether it's AI, whatever the ed tech is, and the concept of a overnight success just doesn't exist. And if you have an overnight success, you're probably not solving a problem hard enough, which might also mean that the traction opportunity may not, align. So, David, in hearing Anna cast her vision for a more equitable future, if that future exists, do you believe it would help you and the DoD and that agency and our government around the world in terms of the work that you're doing, even in Haiti in particular?
Well, I think so. I agree with a lot of the points that I made. And one of the things I hope for, 10, 20 years out, is that we'll see a gradual breakdown of these walls that surround economies. Right now, like, for example, the US economy is just one big bag. It's a mixed bag of smaller economies. And I think what we're doing with these kind of decentralized, autonomous ways of business through software rules allows us to kind of allow economies to grow securely and fairly and transparently, which includes government programs. So it's going to go across all industry. And I think at the end of the day, what's going to happen is that you'll get a universal basic income, but not for doing nothing. You'll get a universal basic income for being human, because with the automation that's happening today, there'll be less need for human resources for typical human-intensive businesses today, like farming and like transportation. And so at the end of the day, what it comes down to is people will pay you, or models, I should say, smart contracts will reward you for making decisions on what you like or don't like. And that's how you'll get paid. Because that's what an economy is about. It's about an efficient pooling of resources to build products and services that a human population wants. And the only way a model can understand the human population is to reward the human population for providing that input. AI can go only do so much, right? AI can help us automate a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, I hope that the human population will remain creative, will remain, keep its uniqueness, so that we will always have a model for us to be rewarded for being human. And when that happens, Rodney, I think conflict will go down. Mm-hmm. Because when we come together as humans, and there's no boundaries in between those kind of relationships around the globe, because you're joining with some other human in some other country because you're in the same economic model, whether that be social media, whether that be the labor economy, whether that be in finance. That economy now isn't broken up and fragmented by government boundaries. It's just kind of contained within the economic roles for that economy. And so that's very exciting to me. And what that means for conflict is, I think what's going to happen is that the things that lead to conflict are like misunderstandings between government leaders. And I think what you'll see is a richer kind of understanding between government leaders, especially when you see these government programs kind of expand out and link up with other government programs that are run on a common smart contract, to have global transparency that we've always wished for, but to this point, never had the technology to implement. So I think that's coming, and I'm super excited for that. I'm super excited what that means for our kids. And I've always tried to tell my kids to get exposed to new technologies, especially blockchain, because it's going to enable a lot of models that we can't even think of right now. And I'm positive, and coming from DoD, you wouldn't think I am, but there's a lot of us in DoD that's all about human rights and the protection of those human rights, and that's why we're here.
Sure.
It's not about finding chemicals that give you the most bang, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's incredible how all the dots do connect. So, and I appreciate your wisdom, your hindsight and foresight there as well. In our last 5 minutes together, I mean, we could just talk on and on, but I would like Xiaochen and then John to also talk about the moonshot you see from the work that you're doing and how, blockchain will be used for the social good that you're focused on in the next 10 or 20 years?
Sure, and so we define ourselves as an enabler, and next 10 years is a really good time framework, because from the United Nations Agenda 2030, and it is exactly 10 years, and there's the SDG 17 goals. And within that 17 goals, it's very clear that $1 trillion will be used to just do monitoring and evaluation. And those costs can be saved from using blockchain technology and making SDG becoming much less costly. And another report was just released by the UN Secretary General Digital Financing for SDG Task Force. And where that, from the report, it's very clear. There's, more than $27 trillion as domestic savings. And through blockchain, and those individuals can be empowered to use their saving to just, invest in their own community and other, SDG aligned goals. And of course, that's in addition to that, and one of the specific, from SMEs, and the gap for SME financing is around $6 trillion a year. That saving can directly go to the SME you want to back, empowered by blockchain technology. And in addition to that, we are going to see many, public-private type of engagement partnership, and where that, you have the, as what Anna mentioned, that's a multiple currency type of system. You have the central bank digital currency, which just deliver public service in a way which has never been able to deliver before. Then you also have the decentralized finance system, where just enable individuals to also just channel their finance through their own unique way and enable their own community. So you have multiple currency and create new opportunities for both the environment and also the society. Lastly, I want to mention about the environment. Many countries now commit to have achieved carbon neutrality by 2050. So to achieve that goal, that is again like $1 trillion cost. Blockchain can definitely just enable renewable energy trading and also reduce energy efficiency and empower many individuals to put their dollar to back up reforestation type projects. So all of those efforts can be enabled by blockchain, and also the startup and the innovators we work with.
That's incredible. Well, I look forward to seeing all of that come to fruition, and I know if anyone can do it, I know you can absolutely facilitate and make it happen. John, bring us home. You're working on a mission critical moment in time where we're juxtaposing COVID and climate at the same time. What's your moonshot?
Well, I have a simple outlook. I see the ability, blockchain, to be used for voting, for ways to tell the truth, for the community to be able to speak up, for the population to, we're about to have a presidential debate coming up right after this. And I would love to see polling along the way that's decentralized and get a real clear understanding of what the people think. So from, listen, when it comes to gifts, this program is dear to my heart. It's a wallet where you can give. It's a place to give and trust. Blockchain for me, the decentralization of the banks, the decentralization of voting, this is the future that I see, as long as, the powers that be do not stop us. And I think where we will manifest it together. I can see this group right here is leading it. So I'm proud to be a part of it.
Right on.
Absolutely. Look, blockchain for president.
Yeah, there you go.
You want transparency?
Wait a minute, I'm voting right now. Did you get it? There. Yeah.
There it is, right?
Yeah, done.
It's
There's the vote.
transparent. You can see it. So,
Yesterday was talking about he's running for president.
All right. Incredible. Once again, thank you all so very, very much. We come to the end of our conversation. And I look forward to seeing the great work that each and every one of you continue to do. For you all that are tuning in, please make sure you follow these folks on the social graph and enjoy the rest of your labs, the LA Blockchain Summit. Let's give it up for LA Blockchain Summit. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.